And that city hashi is made of chocolate.
Yeah, and where does that chocolate cocoa come from?
From Africa.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
That's right.
And if you go to Africa where the chocolate is grown, the people are poor.
Yeah, you can't even afford a chocolate bar in Africa.
Yeah, so Dr. Ngumba, tell me, how are you going to approach this? You're originally from Nyeri?
No, I'm actually from Kiambu.
Kiambu.
Right.
Oh, and Dr. Ngumba.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Actually, we've already started.
Ah,
yes.
okay. All right. Okay.
I usually just start that way, naturally, that way.
Yes. Yes.
To be a little comfortable.
Right.
I love your dress, by the way. I wanted to say it earlier, but I decided I should say it on camera.
Okay. This is a Kenya product.
How do you, where did you get the dress?
Actually, I was in Kenya early this year, so I got it at, I think it was a Maasai market.
Yes.
Yeah. On
Maasai market.
Yeah.
Those guys have talent.
They do.
They do.
Very creative.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I wish they can tap the market here in US and other,
I know.
places. I think will do good. The fashion, I think the fashion in Africa should be one of the most lucrative businesses out there. Yeah, if they had a way to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But sometimes I hear the Chinese are making the same thing in China and selling it back to Kenya and other places. And here, it's funny.
Yeah. I remember a long time ago when we used to have the kiondos.
Yes, yes.
Made with sisal. And then the Chinese came over and now use the plastic kiondos.
Yeah.
You know,
and they sold a lot, yeah? Kind of phased out the market.
Phased out the market.
Wow.
Right.
So Dr. Ngumba, your dad,
Yes.
is he around?
No, my father passed away in 97.
Yeah. How was he?
A year after I graduated.
Okay.
Yeah, he was sick, he was sick, and he passed away in a hospital.
Yeah. Sick as in it was really a bad thing, or it's just that natural sickness? Or?
It was gradual.
Gradual.
It was gradual sickness, and I think eventually eventually he developed, I think, a heart problem.
Yeah.
Which I guess, that's kind of what took him. Right.
Wow. Yeah. He was a good man, I believe.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I think he was. He raised us. I come from a family of 8. 8? Yeah.
Wow.
I'm the oldest.
Okay.
So, yeah, he gave us the best he could.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. What did he do?
My father started off as a teacher.
Okay.
He was a teacher. And then after that, when we were very, very young, he went to England and did, from what I understand, an associate's degree in theology.
Yes, yes.
And then he came back home and he worked for the Christian Council of Kenya for many years. Then he started business and farming and eventually politics.
Wow, that's a lot of contribution.
Yeah.
He did his part.
He did his part.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, welcome to Banana Land Media. Where we project our talents, our visions, our projects, our businesses, all that. And guys, welcome yet to another episode. And today we have Dr. Ngumba. And I'm actually privileged. I have managed to interview only a couple of doctors. A lot of doctors out there, they're either camera shy or they're so busy. So you being available today is a privilege. And actually, you actually telling me, hey, come and do it. And let's do it in a very highly professional way. You just coming to tell me that it's warmth to my soul.
Wow.
Yes.
I appreciate the fact that you answered my call.
Yes.
And I was just sitting around and then I thought, wait a minute, I have Sam's number.
Yes.
I'm going to give him a call. So that's how it started.
Yes.
Right.
And in terms of health, what field have you ventured in?
Okay. Just a little bit back.
Yes.
I came to the United States to go to school.
Yes.
As most of us did.
Yes.
And then I majored in biology. I went to school in upstate New York.
Okay.
At a little town called, actually a small village called Geneseo.
Okay.
So I completed a bachelor's degree in biology.
Biology.
And a minor in psychology. And I was just fascinated with psychology. But anyway, I majored in biology because I was aware of biology. Coming from Kenya, I had never heard of psychology. But it just intrigued me, understanding human behavior. But I graduated with a bachelor's in biology. And then I was accepted at Howard University for a master's degree in microbiology.
Howard That's
University.
A big university.
Yeah, in DC. And microbiology is all about, microscopes and and all that.
Looking at the very small things we just imagine.
And it's interesting how life works, because I went to a party and I met a professor who, when we started talking, he shared with me Dr. Ernest Myers. I think he's still in DC.
Okay.
We were just talking, and I told him I was from Kenya, and then he says, wow, I did my dissertation in Kenya, and I was surprised that there aren't very many psychologists or even psychiatrists in Kenya. So I was like, yeah, actually, I didn't know of any psychiatrists or psychologists. So we started talking about mental health in Africa, specifically in Kenya, where he had done his research. And I said, can I come to your office tomorrow? So the Monday came, and I went to his office. And that time, my life changed. I completed an application. That time, you had to do everything on paper.
Yes.
And I started a master's in mental health counseling.
Mental health.
So I just dropped microbiology and I moved into mental health counseling.
Did you have to lose some prerequisites and do more before you went into that, because you were in biology? What was the process for the sake of someone who is trying to get into the field?
Got you. Actually, that's a good question, because my minor was in psychology, and so I had some prerequisites that I needed to do to now qualify for the master's program.
Yeah.
So I had to take some prerequisites.
Okay.
To get into the graduate program, and you just did them concurrently. So I had to take some undergraduate classes in psychology while I'm taking some graduate classes. Right.
And so you graduate.
So I graduate.
Did you straight up jump into a job?
Actually, as soon as I graduated, I didn't even attend my graduation. I was on a plane to Kenya. I really wanted to go back home.
Oh.
I was ready to go home. Here I am, educated. I'm gonna, serve my country.
Yes, yes.
So I went home and I got a job interview with the Ministry of Health.
Okay.
So I got a job at Mathare Psychiatric Hospital. So I worked in Mathare, for about 2 years. Then I attended some kind of seminar at KIA, Kenya Institute of Administration, and I met the principal there, and we started talking, and he was sharing with me that they wanted to start a medical social work program at KIA. And again, my life changed, and I switched from Mathare Hospital and started teaching at KIA.
So KIA is Kenya
Institute of Administration. It was in Lower Kabete.
Okay, and let's go back to Mathare. we've had the common man hears of Mathare. Actually, we joke about it a lot here and there. Nitakupeleka Mathare wewe, you know. We joke a lot about it, but it's quite a serious thing. And also, there is this thing that moves around about doctors being very incompetent, and not only doctors, but the whole system. You coming from Howard and moving to Mathare Hospital, and I'm sure you did some practicals in the hospitals, like in Howard, super efficient, super equipped.
Right.
And how did you adjust, or maybe did you see any kind of incompetence?
I wouldn't call it incompetence. I think it's just the resources.
Okay.
Because when you compared Mathare Hospital and Kenyatta Hospital, the resources were just not the same.
Not the same.
You know, Kenyatta Hospital was clean, and you know, they had nurses, doctors, they had resources to actually make it a hospital.
Okay. So Howard is just very extra equipped and a lot of resources. I see.
At Kenyatta.
Yeah. How was it for you
to transition?
Yes.
It was interesting because when you learn from the Western perspective, you learn psychology, mental health from the Western worldview.
Yeah.
So when I went home, it was a major transition, trying to now
you dive in the culture
treatment of theories that were not congruent with our worldview.
Yes.
You know.
Exactly.
So it was a major adjustment because we believe in things like witchcraft.
Yes.
We believe in our model of how one gets disease, especially mental health issues.
Exactly.
Is very different from the Western worldview.
Yes, we have our own point of view.
Right.
Yeah, and our medicine is so naturalistic out there.
Exactly. And then the other thing that I found, which was very different, was in the training in America. It was the kind of like the psychosocial model where you teach people coping skills. Whereas home, it was more about medication.
Yeah.
Giving patients medication. So that was another major shift.
Yeah.
But I had to give myself permission to really study disease from a cultural perspective.
Point of view.
And I remember I used to enjoy going for ward rounds with psychiatrists like Dr. Gatere.
Okay.
And they used to come from the medical school.
Dr. Gatere?
Yes.
Okay.
He was a psychiatrist.
Was he a very tall man?
God, I don't recall. But he, you know, everybody's tall because I'm sure.
I remember Gatere I used to be in school with, and we came to the US at the same time. And she was tall, maybe 6'5", not even 6.
Okay. No, this one
and the dad was a doctor.
Yeah, this one was a psychiatrist.
Okay.
Him and Dr. Jenga, there were quite a lot of psychiatrists who would come to Mathare Hospital.
Okay.
Do the ward rounds and then we would all meet, and I used to enjoy the ward rounds with Dr. Gatere because he would educate us about cultural aspects of mental illness. So I really enjoyed those ward rounds.
Now you started getting it right there.
Yes, and it's like, yes, now this makes sense.
It makes sense.
This makes sense.
Yes. Yes.
So in fact, sometimes we used to have patients who didn't want to take the medication, but then they would say, "But if I go home and I kill a chicken and we do whatever rituals, I'm going to be okay." Yeah. So then we would kind of like negotiate.
Yes.
Okay, you can go home and kill
whatever.
the chicken and do the rituals that we believe work. But at the same time, please also take the medication.
Take the medication.
You know, and let me know how it works.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of education
And today, is the medical industry or department in Kenya now becoming too urbanized, too modernized? Are they almost leaving the cultural ways? Because I believe we should never move from those cultural ways. How is it today? You think if you try and teach them those ways, there will be any resistance?
You know, it really depends a lot on where the person is. I think in the urban settings, we're more modernity and all that. But I think in the rural, it's more of the cultural.
Okay.
You know. But my belief is we really cannot get well unless we incorporate who we truly are.
Yes.
We have to have that balance. So I haven't practiced in Kenya, but I'm of the assumption that there is the awareness of recognizing the person as an individual in a social, cultural environment, and therefore doing treatment in relationship to that.
Yes.
Right.
So, for example, I have we are in Kenya and there's this lady who came in and she's having some mental breakdown, and we just give her a pill. Let's say Ativan. Is Ativan as mental care kind of a pill?
Yes, it's a benzo. So it's kind of like a relaxing. It helps with the anxiety.
Yeah, and then instead of trying to dig deeper where they're coming from. Am I understanding you well by trying to explain that? It's more of don't give the pill yet, but try and figure out her environment, where she's coming from, her culture, who she was interacting with, and how she got there, right?
Exactly. And so besides the culture, there's also the biology.
Okay.
You know, so we look at health in terms of the biopsychosocial spiritual model. Biopsychosocial spiritual
model.
Yes.
Okay, explain that deeper.
So you have to look at the individual from the bio perspective. There's some medical or physical illnesses that can present like a psychiatric. So you first of all have to make sure that they're not suffering from, I don't know, hypothyroidism or a lot of the diseases that present as kind of psychiatric or psychological. So you have to rule that out.
You have
first.
To rule that out.
All right. So that, because if you treat them from a psychological perspective,
it will not work.
It will not work.
Yeah.
All right. So you have to understand their biology.
There's a thin line there, right? Okay.
Yeah, because we're one whole being.
Yes.
Right. So you have to treat a person holistically.
Yes.
So the biology, you know, what you're made of. You know, we say food is medicine.
Yes.
All right. And we know that certain foods can help with depression or anxiety.
Exactly.
Right? So the biology, we also know that there are certain chemicals in our brain, we call them neurotransmitters.
Yeah, neurotransmitters.
That if they're out of whack, then we don't think as clearly.
So that's all biological part of it.
Right. So you have to understand that.
I see.
Right. And then you have to understand the person from the psychological perspective.
Yeah.
Emotions, feelings, thoughts. All right. Then from the social, that we are social beings. So relationships.
Yes.
And then the spiritual.
Yes.
Okay. It's kind of like the umbrella of everything. So you have to understand, because there are some mental health issues that are actually spiritual.
Okay.
You have disconnected with your source. All right.
Okay.
So all of that.
Yeah. And once you connect back, you get back to normal.
Okay. So there's some people who may not need medication.
Yeah.
But then you need to treat them as a whole person.
As a whole person.
And medication they may not need and others may. Right.
Wow. There is this book by Tony Robbins, and he talked about neurological pathways that you can break them by way of repeated thought. Is some of the treatment is a psychological treatment, whatever you're coming into, because if you agree with him, and it means that the thoughts someone is thinking are actually affecting the neurological pathways, which is biological. Does it mean you can cure someone just by changing their thought?
Excellent, yes.
Okay.
It's called cognitive behavior therapy.
Okay.
All right. Where
cognitive
behavioral therapy is a mode of treatment where you change your thoughts. And your thoughts, when you change your thought or you reframe your thoughts, then what you're seeing changes.
Yes.
All right. So, yes, our thoughts, they guide our feelings, they guide our behavior. Because if you believe that you're not an okay person, then you're going to act like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you believe you'll
okay, act like that,
then that's how you're going to act.
And it will be a pattern.
Right.
Yeah.
There's some people who believe that they're not worthy. All right? And if you try to convince them that, yeah, you're a person of worth, they will say, yeah, you're just talking. They will just negate that because they don't believe that. So everything starts with you.
With you.
And it's because of kind of thoughts that you believe about yourself.
Okay.
Right.
Let me ask you another question. I'm very interested because I read a lot into mental health.
You can see that.
Yeah, and one of my main, actually, in one of my, not one, I only have one book.
Okay.
And one whole chapter. I've basically almost copy-pasted the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I've not heard of him.
I will drop his book to your door.
All right.
As a gift.
Okay.
And the book is called
to read it.
You Are the Placebo. And he talks about being the placebo. He even talks about some people getting healing because they were convinced they were healed. They were made to totally believe without any doubt that they were healed. And he gives us example after example after example. So my question is, the placebo effect, is it a healing factor too?
Placebo, we know people get healed. Placebo is kind of like naturally. And some people will be told, you know, they will use like a sugar pill.
Yes.
And they will give you a sugar pill. They usually have done this through research. And they will say, you know, this medication is really, really good for your headaches, just as an example. And they take the pill and they're like, they come back to the doctor and the doctor says, how's your headache? Wow, that medicine is great. I don't have headaches anymore. And then, you know, the doctor may say, that was just a sugar pill.
Wow. And say I told someone, let's say someone who is religious in a certain or one of the religions. And I tell them, hey, Buddha is going to heal you tonight. And then I've heard that some people will wake up in the morning feeling great. Is it really Buddha or is it their own psychological?
I really do believe that you can heal yourself. And I think even the Bible tells us that. What you need to do is the power of belief. The power of recognizing that you can make yourself feel better.
Yes.
And that's just the way we are. So if somebody suggests to you that, just like what we were talking about, the placebo, suggests to you that, if you take a nap, you're going to feel better.
Yes.
You take a nap and you feel better.
You feel better.
They didn't heal you. You healed yourself.
You healed yourself.
Right. Yeah. You have the power to heal yourself.
Does that amount to placebo?
We can call it placebo. We can call it the power within.
Yes, the power within.
Right, right. Wow. And we all have that power,
Actually, Tony Robbins' book, the one I just mentioned, the book that contains that information, it's called Unleash the Giant Within. Yeah, and he says the power within a lot in the book.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's quite true. So now let's go to now where you are heading to.
All right.
Wow. I'm actually excited about it.
Okay.
I wish I can be in your position at your health.
All right.
And you're so alive and vibrant.
Okay.
And yet you're telling me you're about to retire. My goodness. Am I gonna get there in good shape like you?
Right.
You, by the way, you look very beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
And very vibrant.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, I couldn't believe when you told me you're almost getting done with your major work.
Oh, yes.
And now moving into this being your next baby. Actually, take me there. I don't want to mislead the people.
Yeah.
Take me there. How do you want to approach mental health with now you starting as a is it an organization, or is it a movement, or is it an agenda you're beginning, or is it a company? What is it?
Okay.
And what's the direction, and how are you approaching it?
Thank you. When I completed my PhD at University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and when I was there, I decided to look at the program that I was in. Was my specialization was in psychology and cultural studies. And I completed my dissertation I looked at the relationship between worldview, in other words, how we view the world in terms of relationships, time, being, and African self-consciousness, your identity as an African person, and adjustment to like a university, which was predominantly, white, Caucasian. And so when I did that, because I truly do believe that unless you know yourself as a cultural, social, spiritual, biological being, you really can't achieve the balance that we're all looking for. Okay, and that is there, but you have to kind of align those areas. You have to know who you are. As an African, we have had a history of being told we're not good enough.
Yes.
All right, and what we believe, what we do, how we look is not good enough.
It's not.
And that has affected us psychologically.
True.
So we always look to the outside to define who we are.
Oh, yeah.
And guess what? The outside tells us we're not good enough.
Yeah, it does.
Isn't it?
It does.
Your skin color is wrong, your hair texture is wrong,
Yes.
and we go to great lengths to change our hair texture, to change our skin color, to change our names, where some of us Africans, we don't want to be called by our African names. We want to be called the European names. All of that has to do with, I believe, to who other people have said you are.
Yeah.
All right.
In let me add something there. I caught myself when I started doing filming.
Okay.
My first customer was Caucasian. I caught myself boasting. Oh, my first customer was Mzungu.
Oh, really?
And then I wondered, why am I boasting? Is it that if my customer is a black person, it is a lesser kind of a thing? You know? Continue.
I'm glad you caught yourself, because many of us do that. You know, you hear people saying things like, oh, they have such a beautiful baby.
Yeah.
The baby is so brown. But if you have a darker child, that baby, you know, the skin is too, you know. So we catch ourselves saying stuff like that.
Yes.
Because of how we have been indoctrinated.
Yes.
So we also have, people have expressed things like, you go to a restaurant in Kenya, and because you're an African, they serve you differently than a Muzungu, you know.
Yeah.
All those things, it just shows how misaligned we are.
We are. And I've also realized that we have also demonized even our medicine men in Africa.
Yes.
And we've made them demons and devils.
Yes.
Because we have decided to embrace what we think is superior.
That's right. And the interesting thing is, we demonize our traditional healers, and then, but the European culture is doing whatever it can to siphon the wisdom that they have.
Yes.
And then they say it is theirs.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
So it's high time people of color, especially Africans, wherever we are, those enslaved and came here, those who were colonized in our own land, it's time we stood up and said, I am going to write my history, not his history.
True.
All right?
True.
And who is best to do that? It's us.
It's us. It's us.
Okay.
And very true. It's really us. Do you know, 2 weeks ago, I was walking by Pullen Park.
Yes.
And I saw this crowd of Caucasian people, men, women, kids.
All right.
And I went closer because I realized they were drumming. And I saw they call themselves the Raleigh Drum Circle.
Ah.
Very good people. But their drumming is pure African.
All right.
Their teacher is pure African.
All right.
I have never seen something of that kind by African people. They are actually embracing our culture, and we are pushing it out.
Yes. Yes. Even another example, Sam, where we all want to be light-skinned.
Light-skinned.
It's supposed to be the
bleaching
standard,
our skin.
right?
Yeah.
And what happens to the Caucasian? When summer comes, they undress and go in the sun, so they can be tanned.
Yes. Yes, and we are here trying to become lighter.
Right.
It's a sad story.
So we have to recognize that what we have, God-given, is so precious. I also believe that the reason why the African is, there's this huge agenda of making the African feel less than, is because the ones who are doing that know the power that we have. If we were truly powerless, would they spend so much money creating laws, creating systems to put us down?
That put us down there.
Right.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make logical sense. They know.
They know. It is sad.
Once we claim who we are, the sky is not the limit.
Yeah.
All right? Because you know what? The cradle of civilization is in Africa.
It's in Africa.
Right? Indigenous knowledge systems, people like Plato and the Greeks.
Yes.
They came to Africa, took that knowledge, went back, couched it as their own.
And you know, I used to think that that was just a story until I went into the books myself.
All right.
And a lady, I won't mention her name, maybe she does not want me to mention her name,
right.
But she told me today that she saw a video of mine.
Right.
And in the video, I think we were talking about how we've painted Jesus Caucasian. We've contaminated Jesus to be something else that is not. And she called me to tell me she saw the video and she decided to educate me and tell me, even if we look at the Bible very carefully,
all right,
we have our history in the Bible from back then. The problem is that the messengers came and messed it up.
Right.
They came to Africa and then they told us to pray and they took our land and they changed things around, even in slavery here. And this lady took me back to the Bible and explained everything, and I realized, wow, we are the original people.
Thank you. Even the virgin birth.
Yes.
Look at the Egypt. Go to the. It's right there.
Yes.
But then they took it and now created this mythology of the virgin birth. But Africa, we believe that.
We do.
Yeah, that's our mythology.
Yes.
But then it was taken and couched in their language, and then now it was brought to us. It's like what they do with tea. They take, or coffee, or any of the raw materials that Africa has. They take the raw materials from Africa, take it to Europe, process it, and then sell it right back to us.
10 times
and
the
make
price.
us believe that chocolate is Swiss. Whereas they don't grow.
Yeah, cocoa. We were talking. I was in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
All right.
And that city, Hershey, is made of chocolate.
Yeah, and where does that chocolate cocoa come from?
From Africa.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
That's right.
And if you go to Africa where the chocolate is grown, the people are poor.
Yeah, you can't even afford a chocolate bar in Africa.
Yeah, so Dr. Ngumba, tell me, how are you going to approach this? And how are we going to make the dent? Because I can not say it's just you alone. I think it's us also supporting you. Yeah. How are you going to approach this? That way you can at least change a perspective on a very broad population out there, because I see that's where you're heading to, helping people cure their mental issues, and also maybe even cultural and biological sometimes, because you tell me it's a whole body. Yeah. How are you going to approach it? And because there will be resistance, and are you going to write a book, or you're teaching people one-on-one? And how is the approach going to be?
My dream is to really go back to Africa.
Yeah.
I watched the Go Black to Africa, that guy on YouTube. Because it's very important for us to begin to tell our story. All right?
Yeah.
And joining like-minded people because they're there. We are awake. There's some who are still asleep, but we are awake.
Yes.
So I join other people, and we begin to create our own narratives.
Yes.
The journey has started. Continue to emphasize and embrace who we are.
Yeah.
From the food we eat.
Yes.
Because we believe food is medicine.
Is medicine.
All right. In fact, the other day I read in the news that Kenya is going back to accepting GMOs.
Oh, really?
Right. That is really, really very sad.
It's sad, very sad.
Because if we eat food that is genetically engineered, modified,
yes,
we know already all the health aspects of it.
And the wealthy people in America don't go for that food. They go for the very expensive natural foods.
Right.
Why are they not using the GMO foods? They know it's bad.
That's right. That's right.
And now in Africa, we are trying to capitalize on that.
On that. It doesn't make logical sense.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. Mm-hmm. So I think the more of us begin to say no, the better we're going to be.
Okay.
All right? So my dream and my goal is to look at how I can contribute to that consciousness.
Yeah.
All right? And not apologizing for being who I am.
Yeah.
So through education, through research, I've been trained in the Western worldview of conceptualizing disease and health and so on. But you know what? We have our own African-centered worldview.
Very true.
Right.
Yes.
And unless we say this is what it is, who will?
No one.
No one.
We will just vanish.
We will just vanish. But guess what? They come there and take the knowledge, bottle it up.
Yes. Sell it back to the world.
That's right. Based on what they expect of us.
Is an African a caste man? Why do we let that happen?
You know, that's a very interesting question. I don't know whether we are cursed, but I think what has happened is I truly do believe that an African comes from a place of good. We accept people as good.
Wow.
That's our worldview.
Someone else told me that and I'm like, wow.
That's right. And I think the Western worldview is people are evil.
Yeah.
Even the Bible.
That's the view.
We have that basic sin, whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because
all right.
I even no longer call it the Bible. I call it the scriptures because it's been manipulated.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been manipulated.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And to suit a certain perspective. That. Thank you. So, so what is happening is I don't think we're cursed. I think that other group, the Caucasian, the Western, they recognize that, wow, when I come to your home, you welcome me.
Door.
I open the door. If you want to farm, there is the farm. If you want to eat. And they thought, wow, these people, they are really, really easily taken advantage of.
And they did.
And
exactly
they did.
That.
And they did.
And they did that also in the name of bringing Christianity to us down the line.
Thank you.
And you know, sometimes I wonder, this is a Caucasian house 200, 300 years ago during slavery. And we have slaves outside. And then on Sunday, we go to church. Nice, beautiful white church. Painted white.
Okay.
And then
with the
slaves are worshipping the same Jesus in some wooden room across. And later in the afternoon, we are done with church and we come and flog the people who made mistakes during the week. This Bible and this religion has been contaminated on so many levels. There was no way that Jesus was existing in the master's church and in the slave's church at the same time.
Thank you. Did you know they had actually two Bibles?
I hear.
Yeah, they had a Bible for the enslaved African, which said, bow to your master,
obey,
master, and all that. And they had their own Bible. All right? Even in psychology, how we define mental health issues, the original book that was written of how to diagnose a mental health issue, you know, in there it was considered a pathology when an enslaved person is trying to escape.
A pathology. Explain.
In other words, it was a sickness for you to desire to be free. And you actually got a diagnosis.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
And you actually got a diagnosis.
Yes, sir. It was you had a mental health issue for a desire to be free. For a desire to be treated with dignity and respect.
Oh my goodness. So they created this bottle and you had to think and stay in that.
That's right.
Bubble.
Otherwise, if you didn't, then you're sick.
You're sick and you need treatment.
And you know what the treatment was? Flogging. Until you succumb. Did you watch Roots?
Yes.
What happened to Kunta Kinte?
Beaten.
That's right. That's right.
Completely.
Even when you look at the experiments that we now enjoy in terms of treatment.
Yes.
Do you know that the father of gynecology, obstetrics and gynecology.
Okay.
With women, when they do like pap smears, that instrument they use.
Yes.
They actually did it with the guy developed it based on black women, because their belief was we don't suffer pain the same way as white people do.
Oh my God! So we were like rats.
We were. What about the Tuskegee experiment?
Yeah.
The Tuskegee experiment. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's amazing what the African has had to endure for the sake of...
Let me not pretend that I know the Tuskegee experiment.
Okay.
Which one is that?
Okay, this is where they took a bunch of males and they injected them with syphilis.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
All right.
Yeah.
And they were being told that it was medicine. And what they were doing is they were trying to study the progression of syphilis.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So when you came, you talked about religion.
Yes.
If you're truly a Christian, as what it says a Christian should be or is, would you do that to another human being?
No, never. And go to church on Sunday.
On Sunday?
And comfortably.
That's right.
Praise Jesus. But also, how would also the Africans themselves go and to church on Sunday at that same period? Were they beaten so much they were made to believe, they believed the narrative, such that they were also they're in this building and they're in this wooden old building,
right,
worshiping the same God,
right? And you know what what they were conditioned?
Yeah.
We were all conditioned that, you remember the song that we used to sing? Something about we're gonna wear shoes in heaven.
Yeah.
All God's children got shoes.
Yeah.
So we were told that don't worry about wearing shoes on earth. You're gonna wear shoes in heaven. You're gonna have your mansion in heaven. Don't worry about I'm living in this beautiful white building.
Yeah.
All right, and you're serving me. When you go to heaven, you're gonna have your mansion.
Yeah. So
we were conditioned to believe that our place on earth is to suffer, because in heaven, oh man, that's where all happiness and everything is. And we bought into that.
We did.
All right? And we never questioned, wait a minute, if I'm human like them, how come they can live in this mansion here on earth?
Yes.
They're not waiting to get theirs in heaven.
I know.
All right.
And how come they come to Africa and they tell us to strip? For us to be accepted by Jesus,
all right,
we have to strip our clothes off.
Yeah.
Put on their suits. Take off our shoes.
That's right.
Whatever we used to use.
All right.
Put on theirs.
That's right.
Put on a bow tie and sing in a particular way.
That's cute.
Only some English hymnals. And anything that's outside that is evil.
When I started going to school, I'm way older than you, Sam.
Okay.
You could not start school without an English name.
Oh my God.
The Baptist name.
Someone told me that. That's real.
So they would look at you and say, you look like Mary. From now on, you're Mary. You look like so-and-so.
I actually read it in Nelson Mandela's book.
All
this
right.
book that was written
it happened
by
in
him.
Kenya.
He was named by a teacher.
Okay.
My goodness. That's what happened? Did that happen to you?
Not to me.
Maybe your parents.
I came from a background where my parents were Christian already.
Yes.
So I was baptized at age 5.
Okay.
And I explained to my friends here, my name is Wanjiro.
Yeah.
And also they said, oh, where's Eunice from? I said, I got Eunice when I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
But all along until age 5, I was Wanjiro.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
Why? Because as Christians, you had to change your name.
Yes.
Now there are quite a few African families who are saying, no, I'm going to baptize my child Wanjiko. Or Wanjiro or Kamau or Joroge, whatever. But before, you had to have that Baptist name.
It was mandatory.
And if you don't have it, they're going to give it to you.
No school.
No school.
Oh my God. Wow. And today we have, actually, I've seen Kenyan parents here trying to make their children not speak in Swahili.
All right, they have to speak English. That's right. That's right. And there are even some parents who will very proudly say, oh, my child doesn't speak Kikuyu or Taita or Kiluo.
Only English.
Only English.
Is that a mental problem?
Yes, it's mental enslavement. That's what it is. To completely abhor and completely negate who you are. Language. When I speak to you in Kikuyu, I'm able to express myself even deeper than in English. All right?
Yes.
There's some things in Kikuyu that I really can't translate in English. All right?
Yes.
So mental enslavement.
It came late, but yes.
Right, right. Where our language, our culture.
Yes.
There's some families where they only know to get married is going to church and saying the vows and all that.
White dress,
a white dress,
ring.
a ring, and to them that is marriage.
That's everything.
But we have our own traditional ways that we, and we put them down. We feel, well, that's inferior.
And
don't get me on this, because
I want, we are so much on the same page. Yes, so very much. I wish my wedding will be traditional.
That's right. And you can make it so. Because you have the power to create your own reality.
True.
All right?
Yes.
And your reality becomes you.
Yes.
All right?
Wow.
I believe religion is the one that really and truly messed us up.
And I would actually agree with you so much and even tell you, it got in me so much, and I ended up participating in messing a lot of people up before I really knew what life is all about.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
so we have a lot of work to do of re-indoctrinating.
Re-indoctrinating, yes.
Right. So that we go back to our path. I believe there is a God. All right. I believe there's a higher power.
Yes.
But I don't believe that God is the one that punishes me or rewards me.
Or the case subject is evil.
I
am evil.
I just don't believe in that.
Yeah.
I just don't believe.
Most of us don't.
Yeah.
Even you go to church. We are Kenyans.
Yes.
We go to church,
yes.
and I talk to people on one-on-one.
Right.
We all go to church and we listen.
Right.
But whenever I talk to people on one-on-one, they believe what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I don't know what is this thing that keeps us scared or afraid that we have to pretend we believe in a certain way, and we go and we agree with the preacher, whatever they are saying, we follow, and we can't even raise our hands and say, "Hey, preacher man, that is wrong."
That's right.
You know, we live in some kind of trance.
Yes.
That, okay, let's just go with the flow, and if you deviate, you get excommunicated by the community, because this is what they know and that is how it should be, and anything outside that, you're messing their kids. Don't mess my kids, don't mess me up. If I was telling someone the other day, do you know that the Bible itself, not the scriptures, because the scriptures are there, but the Bible, we came up with it at the year 325, when Constantine of Constantinople called for the great Council of Nicaea, and they decided this is the book, this is the book, this is the book. But there are many other councils that came about. You go to Orthodox, they have different Bible books. You go to even the very major Catholicism has some extra books that are not in the regular King James. And we call all those Bible. What do we believe? I think there are scriptures underlying the Bible that are hidden. And maybe that's why Martin Luther was excommunicated when he unleashed the Bible to the common man. And we started, now from there we started discovering truths, and that's why the churches started breaking up so much. The Quakers came about, and so many other denominations, and now we are realizing, wow, all this happened, and then the Africans were stepped on and they were told, don't even participate here, we tell you what to do.
Yes.
We say when you have a mental issue, we might give you a pill or tell you to do something. We tell you what the pastor should teach you, and that's what they are teaching us today. What we were told they should tell us.
It's all political. It's all control. It's all political. It's all control.
Am I right if I say, by you pursuing your vision, you might end up reducing a lot of divorce cases, suicides, if the world decided to support you with the direction you're going, because I know it. Yes. You will change a lot of trajectories for a lot of Africans here in America.
And I'll say we will.
We will.
We will change a lot. You mentioned suicide.
Yes.
It's really on the rise. I was reading that quite a few of our own children, Kenyan children, have taken their own lives. All right. Feelings of hopelessness, feelings of despair, feelings of nobody understands me. Okay. To me, it is a disconnection with the source.
Yeah.
All right? So all of us, we have a part to play to bring us back to health and balance. All right? So, and I don't think you and I are bashing religion. What we're saying is the part that it has messed us up because of how it was introduced to us.
To us, yes.
That's right.
It's different. It's contaminated.
Right. So we need to recognize that and say, yes, there is a God.
Yes, true.
But I am not going to believe in that God that you're telling me that I'm going to burn to hell forever.
No.
That is not an African worldview.
I am with you.
All right?
Totally.
That's right. So let's charge. Everybody will do their part.
I have been asked by a lot of young people, what is this burning in hell about?
Right.
And truly, I've told them that is not me. I believe we are going to a better place.
Right.
And I cannot comment about burning in hell.
Right.
I cannot comment about being born evil. So now we are evil.
Right, and therefore, and we can't even be redeemed unless something
happens.
Feel sorry for us. I really don't subscribe to that worldview.
Yeah,
I don't.
It's wrong.
Hell is right here.
Yeah.
Hell is what you make it to be.
You make it. The kingdom is within.
Right. There you go. It's not up there in some space.
It's within.
With the white Jesus with a beard.
No.
And then the devil black with a spear. It's none of that.
Always black one.
Yeah, the devil is always black. The angels are always white.
Yeah. My very official, I used to have this big ministry, refill ministries, still there, but very dominant and dormant these days. And one of the major person once posted on Facebook a picture of angels. They were all white.
All right.
Say, I saw angels like this yesterday in my room. And on the Facebook, I commented, and how come they're all white? He was so mad. But, I didn't want to speak much because even a lot of people will listen to this and some of them will be like, you guys, you're wrong.
Oh, definitely.
Yes, definitely.
We're all on this journey.
Yeah.
Some of us are where they are, and others are where we are. But I think what we need to recognize as Africans, we have to claim who we truly are. And if we allow other people to define us who we are as it has been, then we'll continue to suffer. All right?
Yeah.
And so when somebody will come to you and they say whatever they will say, give them compassion. Okay. Show compassion.
Okay.
Show them love. All right?
Yeah.
Because I believe love cures all.
It does.
All right? And when somebody comes to you angry because of what you said or didn't say, rather than being angry, is to show them compassion. That's where they are. In psychology, we say you start with where the person is at. Then we walk together.
Walk together.
All right. Yes.
Rather than, hey, you're wrong. You need to come here.
Yeah, you need to be here and you're here.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to come and we're going to walk together.
Yeah.
All right.
So, to start finishing up, in the next 1 year, what are you trying to do?
In the next 1 year, I would really like to maybe start some kind like a podcast.
Okay.
I would like to interview psychologists, health providers, clergy, people who are beginning to recognize that we need to write our story.
Yes.
We need to claim who we are. Okay? So through podcasts, through YouTube, in interviewing like what you and I are doing. You know, really starting a discussion.
Yes.
All right? And we're not looking to be approved by anybody.
By anyone. Yeah.
Because if we do that, then it's a non-starter.
One thing I've come to realize is that we should always be independent of good or bad opinion of others.
All right.
I think your own opinion about you is the best opinion.
That's right. That's right. There's a whole Pan-African movement of really saying Africans in the motherland, in the diaspora, we need to come together.
Yeah.
All right? Yes, we have differences, but let's look at the similarities. Okay? Let's see how we can educate each other to be the best we are created to be.
Yes.
All right?
If we start from there,
then we can't go wrong. But we're not seeking acceptance from anybody. Because if we do that, then it's a non-starter. The Western world will not like for us to say, when you come to Africa, all right, you do not take anything from here unless we give you permission to.
Unless we give you permission.
They're not going to like that. The president of Ghana, I saw in a video where I think he was talking to the president of Australia or some European country. I can't remember which one.
Ado Akufo.
And he says, you know, from now on, the cocoa that we produce, we're going to make our own chocolates. If you want a chocolate, you buy the chocolate.
You buy chocolate from us. That's what...
Yeah, and I was like, yes.
That is good.
Yes.
We need to have our own Hershey City.
Thank you. Because we're producing the chocolate, the cocoa.
Yeah.
All right? If you want tea, we produce, package, and sell to you.
My goodness, Hershey City. I went there and it's a whole city, like Raleigh, made by chocolate.
You remember when I was growing up, my father was a coffee farmer. And I remember we could not get the coffee beans and process them so that we make our own coffee. It was illegal.
Oh.
It was illegal. You could not process the coffee that you're growing.
And our government made it happen? Oh my goodness.
I think now things have changed, but I remember growing up.
Yeah.
You took it to the cooperatives, they processed it. You know, my dad had a farm, so, you know, we processed it there and sold it to, I think it was KPCU or something.
Yeah.
Many years ago.
Yeah, I remember being told to take coffee to some place for it to be picked up.
Right. You could not. You know, fix that so that you can drink coffee in the house.
Yes, yes.
It was illegal.
You had to go buy it.
You have to go buy it in the shops.
After going and coming back.
to England.
And come back.
Process it and come back.
Oh, it is sad.
That was our reality. Even tea.
Yeah.
And you had to plant it their way and you couldn't plant anything with it. We've come a long way.
A long way. So tell me, now this last part, I think we might need a part 2 of this.
Okay, you're welcome.
I will be back for a part 2.
All right.
Let's finish up with you telling us, give us 1 or 2 pointers, especially that will help our community here in Raleigh or maybe even in Kenya. 2 or 3 pointers that will improve our marriages, maybe. And will also improve our daily relationships with others and at work, and even relationship with self, because some of us don't even see ourselves as people to be loved by us, you know. Right. I came to realize I need to love myself when I was in 30 years old.
All right.
Yeah, and once I started practicing that, I started noticing that I'm appreciating others more by loving me. Yeah, give us a few gems. And before maybe you do, let me tell guys that this program is sponsored by Tap Send, and I'm the ambassador. And if you download TapTap today, you'll get and use my code SAM254. You will get a $20 bonus. So if you send $1 to someone in Kenya right now using my 254 SAM254 code, they get $21. So say if your friends 5 phones send $1 each to one person, a children's home in Kenya right now, they receive $20 more times 5. And that's one way people are benefiting from TapTap through my promotion code. So I'm just telling you, they're paying my bills to be here, my gas and everything. So download that app. It helps me and helps Banana Land Media. But let's come back to you.
Okay.
And let's finish it off with those 2-3 gems.
Okay, Sam, I want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Okay.
I would like to piggyback on exactly what you said.
Yeah.
You can't give what you don't have. All right? So self-love starts with, love starts with self-love. Self-acceptance. Okay? Nurturing yourself, because then when you do that, you're able to give to others. So when it comes to relationships, unless you love yourself deeply, you cannot love somebody else. Okay?
Yeah.
And so all of us, if we can start from yourself, then you are able to give to others. So in terms of relationships, in terms of marriages, communication is another major, where it's very important for us to learn to talk with each other. And communication is a two-way street. All right? So because through communication, I'm sure through this interview, you have learned a lot about me, and I have certainly learned a lot about you.
Yes.
So through communication, we begin to recognize that we have so much in common. There's so much that we can learn from one another. All right? So in relationships, in marriage, communication, all right? The other thing that I remind myself is to say sorry.
Sorry.
The word sorry, because there's a book called When Sorry Is Not Enough. In other words, we are very quick to say, oh, I'm sorry. Kind of piggybacking on that and saying, I'm sorry, and this is what I'm going to do from now on.
Yes.
So that you know that I'm sorry. So it's not about words, it's about action.
Okay.
How are you going to do to make things right?
Yes.
All right? When it comes to marriage, I know you have a fiance, and you're planning to get married. It's very important, I think, to talk with a third person to help you maybe look at those aspects of yourself that, you know, they come out, but you don't know why.
You don't know why.
Most of us, as human beings, we've gone through traumatic experiences in life. So the way we have experienced trauma affects how we relate with ourselves and people. So seeing a psychologist, talking about, this is who I am, this is how I see the world, this is how I see relationships. And then that third person who is non-judgmental, it's confidential, then you're able to say, wow, that's why when my fiance says, you didn't make any dinner, that's why you jump, because it reminds me of maybe an incident that was traumatic for you in childhood. or how you were socialized as a man, you don't do this and you don't do that. So recognizing that we all have traumas. Traumas are wounds, and we learn to bury those wounds, but then they're still there.
They're still there.
So if you're going to be in a relationship with another person, love yourself first, and then you can be able to love them. All right.
You cannot, taking home this, you cannot give what you don't have.
That's correct.
Wow.
And another thing that I would like to end with is that everything happens for us, not to us.
For us.
For us. When you see things happening to you, you're a victim.
And you're seeing, your view is that evil point of view.
Right. But when you see things happen for you, then it's like, wow, this is an opportunity to learn and grow. All right?
Very true.
So whatever we go in life, just kind of in your quiet moment, just kind of reflect on this. What is my lesson here? All right?
Yeah.
Because then you grow and you're a better human being.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow. Dr. Ngumba, I really, really appreciate you. And actually, it will be an understatement if I say I'm proud of you.
Wow.
I am pleased. I am thankful for a doctor like you who actually has not thrown away what belongs to us. You have decided, hey, I will carry what belongs to us because it's important. And that's what you're dishing out to us fearlessly, you know, and without care whether someone will say, oh, she's Illuminati, or she's this, she's a witch doctor.
That's right.
Yeah, because anything these days you say against the common line, you go outside, you paint outside the circle a little bit, you get demonized.
That's right.
Yeah, but then, you know, we did not draw the circle. Someone drew the circle.
For us.
Yes.
Yes.
And thank you so much.
That's right.
Thank you. I'm sure we will find you, Dr. Ngumba, on Facebook, drngumba.com.
Yes.
I believe that.
Yes.
It's coming.
Yes.
We'll see you, Dr. Ngumba, Instagram soon.
Right.
And we will see Dr. Ngumba everywhere in social media.
Yes.
Yes. So
I claim that.
yes, it will happen.
Yes.
I will make it happen.
Yes.
Yes.
And I know, just to kind of wrap it up, for people who know me, I am married
Yes.
to Gatabaki.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
but I've always used Dr. Ngumba
Yes.
because I honor my father.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm not married.
Yes, yes.
But Ngumba is my father. And according to Kikuyu tradition, he was actually my grandfather.
Ah.
So I
You've gone with the same line.
Right.
Yes. Nothing wrong with that. Because,
Exactly.
as we said, the circle. Yeah.
Yes.
Just coming out of the circle, sometimes we get to see as you have lived your life around your own circles, and that's so good.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I will see you on part 2.
All
very
right.
soon.
Look forward to that.
Thank you.
Thanks.